What is up? What is up, YouTube? How y'all doing? Check this out, and I jumped up. This gonna be the last one right here for real. When I saw this Usher, because everybody is waiting on Usher to take the stand. Jesus, that's not even what I wanted to do. Hold up, y'all. Wait a minute. I gotta get something together real quick. Okay. Dude, when I saw this, I was like, okay, we gotta do this. Melina, King, Miss King, I just call her Miss King. Usher witnessed Diddy's abuse. Trial day 7 just explode. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. Let's see what this bad boy is about, man. Here we go, man. I gotta hear this. Here we go. Check it out.
And I lived with 𝗟𝗓𝗡𝗞𝗦 for a year.
That's the crazy thing. Now, that was L.A. Reid's idea, right? We're sending you over to something called Puffy Flavor Camp.
There you go.
To learn
Flavor Camp.
Yeah,
Flavor
that's
Camp.
what it was called. And you're going to go to Puff Daddy's. Puffy's place was like just filled with chicks and orgying like nonstop, right?
Hey, it was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you seeing?
I went there to see the lifestyle.
Right.
And I saw it.
Usher, a chef, a hammer, guttural screams. Today's courtroom session in the Sean Diddy Combs federal trial was so jam-packed with bombshells, you think it was scripted for Netflix. Like, I'm serious. But it wasn't, of course. This is real life. This is day 6. And what just came out in court may change the course of this entire case. We're moving fast today
shucks.
because court only broke briefly for lunch, but we've already got explosive witness testimony, including celebrity name drops, threats of violence, accusations of forced labor. Yes. And we're just halfway through the day. Diddy once again appeared in good spirits this morning, walking into the courtroom, hugging his lawyers. I believe Alex Shapiro and Mark Agnifilo, who Mark is the one who is the lead attorney. There's a bunch of attorneys on his side. But anyway, he was acting like this wasn't a federal racketeering and sex trafficking trial, the way he was looking. But the tone shifted dramatically when the prosecution and the defense began sparring over a crucial witness, Diddy's former chef. Now, the chef, according to the government, wasn't just a bystander. He was allegedly a victim of forced labor. And the details, well, they opened the floodgates. Mark Agnifilo, clearly frustrated, told the court that this trial was beginning to sound like gossip, as if the prosecution's witnesses were just recycling rumors instead of providing evidence, which they wouldn't be able to do that if they didn't have evidence. Anyway, he seemed particularly upset about the chef's expected testimony, questioning how an incident involving a household employee had anything to do with the racketeering charges on the table. Now, the prosecution, they fired back, and intensely, making it clear that the chef's experience was not only relevant, it was central to their case. They claimed the chef was subjected to forced labor under Diddy's watch, directly tying this new witness into the broader scheme of the abuse and control allegations that the government has spent 6 days carefully laying out. Then came a wave of emotional testimony from Dawn Richard. Now, someone in the comments of my last video was like, her name isn't Dawn Richard, it's Dawn Richard. Y'all, you have to know that's a stage name. Her name is Dawn Richard. That's how she was born. But she changed it for Dawn Richard to make it a little extra spicy. I mean, let's be clear here. No hate or shame on her, but really, y'all. Okay. But anyway, I will call her Dawn Richard for here on out. Dawn is a singer most known for her time with Danity Kane and later Diddy Dirty Money, which is the dumbest group name I've ever heard. Anyway, her account painted a chilling picture, alleging that after witnessing the now infamous Cassie Skillet incident, which she testified on Friday about, she was threatened not once, but twice by both Diddy and Harve Pierre. Most shockingly, she recalled Diddy telling her, if you tell, people will go missing. That ominous line, well, that hit the courtroom like a punch to the gut. But the defense, well, they weren't going to just let that land without a fight. So another defense attorney, Nicole Westmoreland, I believe is her name, Well, she got up to do the cross-examination today, and this is the first time we're seeing her. Now, she seemed kind of nervous at first. That's what reports are saying. And she tried to object to key moments, but it wasn't really landing. She eventually got her grounding and kind of regained her composure and hit Don with a devastating point that in 7 prior conversations with the government, not once did Don mention this people go missing threat. It only surfaced in her 8th meeting. Now, the defense showed her transcripts from earlier interviews and even referenced a conversation from as recently as April or I think May of this year, like just before the trial, suggesting that she's having selective memory or either was coached on her testimony. Don admitted that her memory had shifted over time, but explained on redirect that these memories were deeply buried due to the trauma and only began surfacing as she continued reliving them with the investigators. Things got murkier when the defense brought up a separate incident referenced in Don's civil lawsuit, because you guys don't know, she's also suing Diddy. She claimed that Diddy dragged Cassie out of a car by her hair in front of a bunch of witnesses. Don denied saying that, chalking it up to a miscommunication with her legal team. The government quickly tried to clean it up by saying Don was likely confusing this with another violent episode. But the damage was already done. Doubts had been planted, and the cross-examination continued to poke holes in her story. One of the more difficult contradictions in Don's testimony, well, that came when she admitted that she had initiated contact with Diddy after leaving his label. While she tried to frame it as these FaceTime check-ins as they were obligatory, something done just to keep the peace between her and Diddy because she was afraid of him, well, the defense showed evidence that she had, in fact, reached out multiple times herself. Only under redirect did she explain that this was at the request of another former bandmate, 𝗗𝗢𝗡𝗞𝗦. Still, it added another wrinkle. Why would someone voluntarily reconnect with a man she now claims she feared? The exchange, well, it turned pretty petty, and it revealed that Westmoreland questioned Don's career. She said bluntly, and with a hint of sarcasm, "You haven't sold nearly as many albums since then," meaning since she left Diddy's label. But Don clapped back, and pretty hard. "I am successful." That single moment showed just how personal and combative the trial has become. And then came the celebrity bombshell of the morning. Don Richard named Usher, yes, Usher, as someone who allegedly witnessed Diddy punch Cassie in the stomach at a dinner in Los Angeles. Like what? She also mentioned that music industry titan Jimmy Iovine and possibly Neo were there, though that part was it was less clear, I would say. But according to Don, Cassie was so embarrassed after the dinner, she left early, only for Diddy to continue to abuse her later that night. Whether Usher saw it with his own eyes, it remains unclear. But he was present, and that's enough to raise eyebrows across the country. As most of you might know, Diddy took Usher under his wing when he was about 14 or 15 years old. And Usher has not testified, but he's talked about this in interviews that, he would take him to flavor camp and that the things that were done there were really inappropriate. It was wild. It was not something for kids. He wouldn't even have his own kids go through it. But there have been rumors for a long time, and people have spoken up that Diddy had Usher involved in freak off activity and possibly not just with women while he was underage, but with men and Diddy himself. That echoes the same thing that with Justin Bieber, because Usher ended up signing Justin Bieber at 14 and then sent him to Diddy to the flavor camp. And I've done a full report on it a few months ago. I'm going to have another Justin Bieber thing coming out. But this is crazy because what she just testified to, now Usher can be called as a witness to testify about that. And they can also, that will open the floodgates to what actually happened to Usher when he was a kid and going to flavor camp. And then that could also bring in Justin Bieber into this case. This is wild, guys. I think that is a huge bombshell.
And I lived with 𝗟𝗡𝗞𝗡𝗢𝗡 for a year.
That's the crazy thing. Now, that was L.A. Reid's idea, right? We're sending you
New
over
York
to
City.
something called Puffy Flavor Camp.
There you go.
To learn
Flavor camp.
Yeah,
Flavor
that's what it
camp.
was called. And you're going to go to Puff Daddy's. Puffy's place was like just filled with chicks and orgying like nonstop, right?
Hey, it was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you
I
seeing?
went there to see the lifestyle.
Right.
And I saw it. It was pretty wild. It was,
So nobody
it was
tried to, some woman didn't come along.
I didn't say that.
Okay.
I didn't
But
say
you
that. What I did say is that there were very curious things taking place.
Biggie Smalls was there.
Biggie Smalls was there. Lil Kim. Craig Mack.
All these people are hanging around.
Yeah, man. Faith Evans.
your parents
Jodeci,
were
Mary J.
okay?
Blige. They didn't know nothing about this shit.
Oh.
I was having a good time. You know what I mean?
Does he have you doing any chores? Are you doing dishes at all? I mean, to keep you humble somewhat? Or are you just like, can you stay up till 4 a.m. with them and party?
I mean, I could. I actually stayed up longer than them.
And do you have money? What's going on?
I mean, I had like per diem. I had like,
What
like
a
a living.
life.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
14 years old. You're a dad now. Would you ever send your kid to Puffy Camp?
Hell no.
See?
Don't hit me no more. Kick in the door, waving the 4-4. All you heard was Papa, don't hit me no more. Let's go. Kick in the door, waving the 4-4. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah, yeah.
Don also testified that Diddy
Wow,
carried a
that's
gun in his
crazy.
back pocket, something that made her feel deeply unsafe. The defense tried to downplay this by pressing her on how often she actually saw him with a gun and whether it was ever used or brandished or anything like that to do a threat. But she said no. But the implication is quite chilling, right? Like, don't you think? She also spoke about a drug dealer named One Stop who would bring Plan B and other drugs to the studio, corroborating claims from earlier testimony about Diddy's infamous Louis Vuitton medical bag filled with substances. So it just wasn't recreational drugs. He would have Plan B, abortion pills, and he would have birth control in this medical bag. Now, we also know, now she didn't testify to this, we know that they would get IV drips after a freak off to recover. They would have to go through different things. Some people would actually need surgery. Like, I'm serious, it's really crazy. But to think that the medical bag has not only drugs in it, but Plan B, birth control, and abortion medication. To close out the cross-examination,
crazy.
the defense
Wow.
asked a loaded question. What do you want out of your civil lawsuit? Dawn didn't shy away. She said she wanted compensation for the work she put into her career with Diddy. The defense framed it as wanting money, another money grab. That's what they're saying all of these people want. It's just money, money. Okay. But Dawn responded with conviction. No, I want justice and accountability. And those were her goals, not just a money grab. But you are seeing the defense set up any witness who's had a civil lawsuit against Diddy or is filing one or settled with Diddy, whatever the case may be. They're trying to say that these people just want money. All 70 cases, civil lawsuits against Diddy, they just want money from him. That's the only reason. And the only reason they're testifying under oath in a federal racketeering RICO trial is because they want money, not because any of these things happen. Like, that's a far stretch to make. Maybe you could say one person, 2 people, 3 people, but everybody is just out there for money. Yes, they can get paid or compensated for their trauma from what the abuse that they went through. But to think that every single person, dozens and dozens of people, that's all that they're doing, I think that is a far stretch, and it's quite delusional.
Yeah,
Before
me
the
too.
lunch break,
That's
the
too
jury
far.
also heard the beginning of testimony from Carrie Morgan. Now, this is Cassie's former best friend. Carrie dropped her own set of jaw-dropping details, including an incident in Jamaica where Cassie let out what she calls guttural screams after being allegedly abused by Diddy for taking too long in the bathroom. The screams were so horrifying, they hid in a ditch behind a tractor, afraid and too traumatized to come out because of Diddy's rage. Now, Carrie also recounted that being at Cassie's home during the infamous 2016 Continental incident, the hotel video. When Cassie showed up to her home, she had a black eye, dropped her bags, and barely said a word. Then minutes later, Diddy arrived, banging on the door, with a hammer in his hand. The police were called. They asked for ID, but Cassie refused. The officers ended up leaving and they gave them a business card. But then after that, we don't know what happened because there was never an incident report, at least to our knowledge. Carrie later sent the policeman's business card to Christina Forrester. That's Diddy's chief of staff, texting that this was all too intense and unfamiliar. She didn't want to be part of this world. And judging by her demeanor in court, she still doesn't want to be part of this. I'm wondering if she was an unwilling witness. She was somebody who did not want to be called, because that's what people are saying, is that she just seemed very closed up, like very clammed up and uncomfortable on the stand, but not in a normal uncomfortable, almost like why am I here? Just the way her affect was, the way her body language was, that's the reading people are getting. Again, this is what people are judging, but we don't know if that's really the truth. So here we are, day 6, witnesses breaking down, memories resurfacing, celebrity names dropping. Usher is now in it, and a courtroom that is bursting at the seams, full of trauma, contradiction, suspense. I don't know what's going to come next. If this chef, they testify this week, and Usher ends up taking the stand too, this trial might enter a whole new phase. Guys, make sure you are subscribed. Hit the notification bell, because I've got another video I'm dropping after this with more details from today that you're not going to want to miss. Make sure that you comment below. What do you think about this, so far, what has happened in day 6? Because I realize I have an audience where some people think Diddy's going to get off. Some people think he's already cooked. But tell me your opinion. Just based on this, what is your gut reaction to Don Richard and also Carrie Morgan taking the stand and what they had to say? But till then, till later, I will see you guys very soon.
Until later. This is crazy. Dude, they gotta call Usher. They was gonna call him anyway. I mean, there are people saying that he saw this. Well, she said you saw this. Did you see this? I can see him now. I ain't see nothing. Oh my gracious. I wonder how many people are going to flip. How many people are going to hold on to that oath, that quietness. I haven't done anything, Your Honor. I ain't seen nothing. Hey, the music industry done gave me millions of dollars. I'm staying with them. That's Usher. And Justin is saying, there's stuff out there saying Justin's saying that Puffy ain't do nothing to him. Shoot, who did that? Somebody did something to you. Since you want to protect that other little girl you claim. Oh man, y'all just let me know. This circle is, I thought this was gonna be an easy one, man. They done made this into a complete circle, man. Hey, I'm gonna get on up out of here. Y'all take it slow. Tell them Uncle Mike told you so. Peace out.